from the. So I was just walking, everybody was running, I wasn't that. So I went downstairs and they had this one booth. For the sale pens, pencils, novelty things, the light was off, it was so tempting to go over there and grab a whole handful. I think my luck, there'd be a camera or something, so I went ahead and passed. I didn't get that excited till I got outside and the secret, well, I don't know, Marshall went in and shot me or whatever.
Yeah, Secret Service, they're good over there, yeah.
Okay, then I started running.
There you go.
I worked at Andrews Air Force Base in DC, what's actually in Maryland, and so every time we would go in and out, we worked on the Marine One, which is a helicopter.
Okay.
And Air Force One was also in that area, and anytime anyone was going on or off either of the planes, you'd get stuck. So if you got stuck there at work, you're just like,
Yeah.
but when you got stuck out of work, you were just sitting there in line kicking back.
Yeah.
But I mean, it could be hours sometimes.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And you can't get a heads up about it because
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
confidential,
Mm-hmm.
even though we work on their aircraft.
Yeah, right, yeah, whatever.
I didn't go to many of the museums and stuff till I went back to visit because,
Yeah.
when you live somewhere, you don't think to go
Yeah.
and check it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yourself, or if somebody would come to visit, then we would go to some of the museums and
yeah.
stuff, but
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff over there.
Oh,
Lots of
tons.
history.
yeah. I'm much more interested in history now than I was while I was in the Navy, which is really kind of weird.
Yeah.
I think when you have to do it or know it, you just kind of,
It's even like in school. Like,
Yeah.
You did it because you had to, but
right,
know.
right.
you know. I know some kids are like, oh, I don't like history class. And I go, wait, look outside the books.
Mm-hmm,
Look at the real history.
yes.
Okay, you ready?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, great. Thanks, everybody. Welcome to a regular meeting of the city council for July 1st. And we have a full council present. So we'll move on to closed public comment. Is there anybody on the line that would like to make a public comment on topics to do with the agenda? No hands? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public comment. And we'll move on to agenda. The approval of agenda and consent agenda.
I move to approve the agenda and consent agenda with the addition of two topics under council business. One is organizational change and the other is a conversation about partnering with Conservation District.
I second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda with two items added under council business for council leadership and organizational change and city partnership with the Conservation District. Discussion? Hearing none, I have a motion and a second. I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. We'll add those two items under H, council business 2 and 3. Okay. Next up on the agenda, we have department reports. And we'll start with Fire Chief Noah Hall.
All right. I don't really have much, just obviously 4th of July is Thursday. Fireworks are gonna go off on the 4th of July only. Basically, I was just talking to police chief about that. I know that there's times to that, but we just say that you need to let them off on the 4th and go with those times. I don't know the times, but it's very difficult. Once they light them off, go from there. Or we can find them after that. So just please be safe. It is dry out there. Also on the fourth, we'll be helping Earl 7 with the demolition derby. And the fireworks show after. And then obviously, community days this weekend, we will, be having the parade and touch a truck, we'll have Aspen on there. And I think that's it.
Thank you, chief. Next up, police chief, Mike Smith.
So many of you might have heard the Ninth Circuit Court actually came out with a ruling on the Grants Pass issue with the homeless encampments on public property. We now can enforce that. And so I'm basically gonna ask the ordinance committee to be able to get together, re-add to our city ordinances if so chooses. It would help us empower that new law that it's not unconstitutional to remove somebody from a park or any public area. Due to, we do have events in our parks that we allow some people to camp. I know the Bluegrass Festival has campers down there, the Horseshoe people have had campers down there. So the ordinance needs to read something to the terms of no camping in public areas except when permitted. Then that would, for certain events that the city would allow camping for those, that it'd be a standard, you can camp from Friday to Monday, no other times are permitted. That way we can enforce that if somebody decided to stay and say, now I'm living in the park, that wouldn't be allowed, we'd be able to remove them and arrest them for trespass at that point.
Could we have a form that just has them fill it out so that we can have something in writing, the dates that they are gonna be there, so it can be more easily enforced? Within our ordinance?
Isn't that already the case when there is going to be an event?
Yeah.
But he's-
Yes,
Yeah, it would, that'd be part of the permitting process,
Okay,
but it just needs to state in our ordinance that it has to be by permit only.
okay,
And so if you don't have a permit, then you're not allowed to camp.
gotcha.
And so that's anywhere, any city property, all our parks, sidewalks, wherever, so. And that would, we haven't had really a problem with that. Most people move along, we've found them other locations to be other than, in the city, but it just. Being this law came back out in our favor, which should have been that way from the beginning, but that's the world we live in right now, so. But it just gives us a little more clean cut, that way it prevents anybody from saying, you allow them to camp down there during Bluegrass Festival, but not any other time, if it's not stated in our ordinance.
Right.
That could be an issue later down the road with legalities. Also with the fetch truck, we're gonna have our armored vehicle down there, we got some new graphics on it, it's looking pretty good. We're gonna have our tank kind of partner up with the fire department with their trucks, and so that should be a good event for the kids and people to come out and climb on stuff and have a good time, so.
Is that on
Great.
4th of July?
Saturday on community days.
okay, well, thank you, chief.
What's
Yes,
the question? Oh,
Can we schedule an ordinance committee meeting next week possibly, Dave?
let's do that.
Okay.
I was gonna say the same thing. Chief, when would you be available? Anytime?
Anytime, Monday through Thursday next week, I'm sure.
Okay, because we gotta get this by next week, because on the 15th, then we get approved by the council. Is that right? That's the way we,
I believe so. We might have to do a public hearing first,
oh,
but it'd be good to get the ball rolling
Yeah, it'd be
anyway.
nice sooner. I mean, we can enforce right now. And if there's,
Okay.
I believe there's signs down there that say no camping,
Yeah,
and we don't have any other permits, I believe, the rest of the summer for camping down there. So we do have some time to get that, but it just needs to be addressed sooner than later. Would be a lot more efficient to.
well, let's see. On the ordinance committee, we have
I think I'm on it.
Lauren and Ellie. Okay, well, between the three of you and Chief Smith, maybe we can get something set up for next week.
Monday, anytime is good for me, or Tuesday evening, or Wednesday, except at 1 o'clock.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I can do anytime next week as long as it's after noon.
Okay, Mylan,
I'm pretty well free, I think.
Monday afternoon?
Yeah, Monday's great for me.
Monday, the 8th? Okay, what time? So we meet after,
Afternoon is good for.
I have a meeting at 1 o'clock on Monday. How about, is 3 okay with you guys?
okay,
For me,
Okay, Monday. July 8th. 3 p.m. Good. Thank you, chief. Anything else?
Just a comment about the ordinance, about
the ordinance, now would, you're saying if you have to have an event permit, but could you just go to the city and get a permit if your family reunion's gonna be there and you wanted to camp out, or, I mean, it wouldn't be a public event, it would be a private event? Is that,
You could be any
That could be
permit
allowed.
if the city allowed that,
If you
that'd be up to the city
Okay.
that kind of deny a permit like that. I
Okay.
don't think the city's given those out before.
I don't think
So
we
that would be a
really have it.
special event, and so that'd be something the city or the council would look at, and say, is this worth permitting for this event time? And there should be some restrictions, and that might be something with the ordinance committee too, maybe to add a second chapter in that ordinance to be able to say, a clause for special event permits. That's one of the things that really, I believe with all our other permits we sign, there is no guidelines to that. It's each permits its own, when a permit comes in, myself, Noah, or worse, the mayor, if we all look at that and say it's just an event that, can we accommodate, community days downtown with they're having a band or, there is some restrictions to those events that we'll sit down for safety reasons for alleyways and different, guidelines for, you have to be able to have fire trucks, EMS, emergency, be able to get to that location. The parks really aren't set up for camping. And so a lot of people will reserve like the gazebo area for a birthday party for that. You can right now do that, but there is no overnight camping with those. So it might be just case to case basis. So
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, chief. Okay, now, under administration, I have, a need to set up a Public Works Committee meeting to do with the Broadway parking issues. We have two different proposals that have been, that we have to look over and make a recommendation to council. So Public Works Committee, can we set up a Public Works Committee meeting on the topic of the Broadway parking issues that we've been working on for a while now? Public Works Committee is, Steve, Dion, and Lauren. Is, we want to try for, another day next week?
Yeah, very good.
Okay, we have, is, Tuesday, July 9th, okay?
Think so.
If it's after, 3 or so, later the better.
Okay, how does that work for, Theon and,
I can do that, if you want 3 or 4, or 3, the 9th, Tuesday, the 9th.
Tuesday, the 9th at 3 o'clock?
We also talk about line of sight issues related to that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
let's be as thorough as possible.
yes. Okay, great.
Would that, excuse me, would that include the trees?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm all for that.
Yes. And we'll talk about these two proposals that we have, the studies. Okay, great. Well, that'll take care of that part. And, just to let you know, what's going on out at the wastewater treatment plant. We got the solid storage building has been completed and up. The asphalt drying pad is complete. And the screw press building is under construction and should be done by the end of next week. So we're on good schedule out at the wastewater treatment plant. I talked to Robert today and he wanted to extend an invitation to any council member that would like to take a tour and get their eyes on that treatment plant and really get a good idea. So if anybody would like to take a look out there and see what's going on, give myself or Robert a holler and we'll make that happen. Okay. So we'll move on next to everything covered there, yes. Okay, we'll move on to council business under H1. The chief of police employee agreement. The chief of police position is an exempt position. And on June 1st of 23, Mike Smith took over the position and is performing work without clear terms of his employment with the employer. The attached paperwork here shows the Chief of Police Employee Agreement provides clear terms of working conditions that will protect the employer and employee rights equally and fairly. Chief, did you have anything to add to that?
No, it was actually submitted before Dave became in office with the last administration. They kind of went to a stalemate, so I've been just looking forward to getting this done.
Okay. And we will entertain a motion or questions for discussion.
I move to approve the chief of police appointment agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the chief of police employment agreement. I'll now open it up to any discussions or questions. Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes unanimously, thanks.
I'm gonna abstain.
Abstain, one abstention. Thank you. Okay, still under council business. We'll move on to under H2, city partnership with conservation district. Would like to do that one first?
Yeah, I'm gonna put my different hat on and go up to the podium.
Yes, sir.
I guess. So the conservation district is partnering with the city on a number of projects, especially along the Little Tap River, you know, the fire recovery work that was being done up on Observatory Hill. And so I just wanted to come to council and ask them to kind of formalize that partnership between the district and the city, kind of as local governments to, you know, share resources and bring benefits to the community. Benefits of that are that, you know, as we do grant applications, we can ensure our partners and our staff as well that, you know, we're committed to these improvements. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for future projects as well, whether it's, you know, forest health up in the city's watershed. I think it'd be great for the Public Works Committee to go take a look at that, look at the fire breaks up there. And then partnering with any work down along the Little Tap River in the parks area there to incorporate not only parks improvements, but natural resource benefits in this stream corridor as well. And so I'm just looking for council to give me direction. I know Mike Ward at the Conservation District several months ago motioned to continue to stay committed to the work there in the city parks along the Little Tap River. And so I'm just looking to council to maybe make a motion that you're supportive of that partnership going forward. And I could bring a draft to you for interlocal agreement or an MOU to kind of formalize and that commitment to each other and working together.
Great, thanks, Lauren. Yeah, I really appreciate the work you guys are doing up on Observatory Hill. Last week, myself and Sandy got a chance to go up there and take a look at all the good work they're doing up there, and just a lot of good clearing, and it'll really help for if there's a fire. I really appreciate the work the Conservation District is doing there.
It was great for me to get up there and take a look at it again since I've been working on it.
Yeah.
I was amazed at the amount of fuels reduction that's happening. I mean, there's just a
Yeah.
lot of material up there.
You don't realize how much it builds up until you start clearing it away, I'm sure.
Yeah, we've had 8 people a day up there for 10 hours a day for a couple of weeks now, and they've been working on it prior to that as well. So
Thank you, Lauren.
Great job.
Do we need a motion for that or just a consensus to?
I think it'd be nice to put it in motion
Okay.
and then before I invest the work in putting together an agreement, bringing that back to you guys to edit and change.
And the motion would
Interesting.
be to direct you to put together the agreement.
That's just a motion to support the partnership and consider entering into an agreement sometime to formalize that.
Okay, I will move the council give direction to the Conservation District to formalize an agreement between the Conservation District and the city.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions?
Should I abstain?
We should both stay.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, I have a motion and a second. Would you like to read that motion one more time? I didn't.
It was to direct Lauren to put together a formal agreement between the Conservation District and the city as far as a working agreement.
We called it a name.
Partnership.
Partnership.
agreement, yeah, partnership agreement.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Unless there's any further discussion, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? We have 2 abstain. And 5 ayes. Great, thanks. Okay, we'll move on to council business H3. And that will be the council leadership and organizational change.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about the changes that we've been going through at the city of Goldendale, you know, new council members, new mayor, a lot of staff changes. I've been doing some reading about organizational change and council's role. And I think, I would enjoy participating in. I think it'd be beneficial to council and city staff if we had some workshops dedicated to organizational change and kind of setting some of those goals and objectives and an implementation plan forward for staff to implement. Just to help us, you know, determine and define where we're going into the future. Some of the things I think we can work on are kind of defining the powers, functions, and duties of city staff and staffing roles. We've seen a lot of change there, and we still have some things to figure out, as well as set a plan in place to review some of the ordinances, like Mike brought up today. There's some other ordinances that we've discussed in the past and really haven't had opportunity to move forward on, as well as addressing the city planning. And we have some planning questions coming up at future meetings. We've had a lot of discussion, mostly Public Works and the Ordinance Committee, about updating our planning, our zoning ordinances. And so it'd be good to kind of define some of our high priority goals and objectives and give staff a good path forward and what a priority is for council. So I know it's hard for us all to find time to get together. We're probably not going to find an opportunity for a workshop of a couple hours to get us all there and present at the same time. But maybe if we have 2 or 3 of them, we can all participate in at least 1 or 2 of those. And we maybe want to look at, maybe you and I, Dave, could work with MRSC and we may bring in a speaker or 2 to help us, you know, kind of work through this process.
Use it maybe as partially a training opportunity and
Yeah.
a workshop type scenario.
If we do that, I just went to the AWC meeting and they had the MRSC people there and they said that, yes, they would come in, but one of the big things that they mentioned, which I'm all for, and I was gonna mention when it was our turn in the departments, is that we can partner with not only the county and have them involved in some of these things, but also different other little cities, because they may have grant writers, they may have different things that we don't have and vice versa. We may have something like a wastewater type or 2 position that they could go and take looks in or sign off for them. So we could work hand in hand with a lot of different cities and towns. And so if we were to do that, I would suggest that we invited when MRSC came, we would invite some of these other little local areas to be involved as well. Because that way it would, if we can get into partnerships without us having to spend all of the money for the different things, that would be even more of a bonus. And then we would have more people that we could utilize in the future as well.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's just hard in the course of the business of a regular meeting to get to some of these longer term goals and things. And so dedicating a couple hours at a couple different workshops would be great.
Absolutely.
I move that we do a workshop, at least get the first one scheduled before we leave this meeting today.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to schedule a workshop. Discussion?
One thing, yeah, I'm all supportive of this, but then where's the status of getting our new public works director?
Yeah, we will be advertising that
Okay.
position. It's actually advertised right now.
Okay,
And we'll be doing interviews next week.
okay,
We
Well-
have 3 applications
is that right?
to do interviews.
Okay, good. Well, what I'm getting at is we could definitely start, but I really like to have our new public works director be involved in these meetings. That's what I feel.
Well, that public works director role is a council responsibility to determine the duties, responsibilities, qualifications. And so feel like maybe we gotta get ahead of ourselves again a little bit.
Well, maybe so, I don't know,
Voice
I just,
opinion on that in the last couple of hires, and so like, what are the qualifications for that? Cause we're really looking at a big change. Went from, Larry and Pat had a lot of that experience and were able to do it to, we have a different city administrator now that didn't have that public works background, so we're actually creating a new public works position that hasn't been there for 10 years. 15 years.
10.
And that,
No,
I
it's
feel
probably
like
10.
that's a good council discussion. That is well within the wheelhouse of city council. And so instead, it's gonna come back to us as, this is done, will you approve it? That's really not what we should be doing.
I believe there's already existing a job description
Yes.
for that position. To at least work from.
That hasn't been used for 15 years. So council should take a look at that
And
and wait and
Yeah.
update that.
I agree.
We'll update it for sure. I mean, the duties really haven't changed that much over the years. It should be looked at and updated. So
So you're talking about having someone at that training? in March
Not at
year?
this first meeting, no. I think
No,
that the
no.
first meeting, we
Yeah.
need to just discuss, in my opinion, just discuss goals and things like that. In the meanwhile, if you guys, at that meeting, we can discuss what type of training we would like here from the MRSC and or AWC. And I met a few other people that might be willing to come into town for a while or a couple days anyway, to do some other types of trainings. But that would have to be discussed, I think, with our council. That way we can all become or be in agreement with what we get trained on and what needs to be trained on. Rather than just me going, this is what I want to train on,
Yeah.
I think it needs to be
I agree with this needs to happen. I think we should have a date in the motion rather than just say we're gonna do it.
okay, agreed.
Just
Maybe this
my-
Public works position should be part of that initial
agree.
workshop.
I agree.
I would request a friendly amendment to the person that made the motion to include that.
And I will, let me redo the motion. How's that?
Okay.
So, okay, I move that well, first of all, before I even do that, so what date works for everyone? Next week would be ideal, because then we can get something rolling for the following city council meeting on the 15th. And I know you're gonna now have meetings on both
July
Monday
8th.
and Tuesday, right?
Right.
Could we do it before the public works meeting and maybe bump the public works meeting down to
on the ninth.
on the night, Tuesday, the 9th?
He can't come before 3. He said the later the better on the 9th.
Oh, so then they would be a later.
And then we already have, those two topics for public works are gonna be. I'll need to keep that full, and then we could meet again if we needed to.
So,
Friday the 12th would be good for me, but that's right before the council meeting, so I don't know. We could look at Thursday afternoon.
Tuesdays through Fridays, I work 10-hour days, so there's no getting off early.
I'll do
Yeah.
a Saturday.
Yeah.
Not this weekend, but the following, I could do Saturday the 13th.
13th.
I could do the Saturday, the 13th.
I have saw a EOC training. I think that's usually over by noon though.
Saturday afternoon.
I think I could do that afternoon. I should be able to.
Could we do it around like 2 or 3, just to be safe? In case my training is in Bingen.
Sounds good to me.
Okay,
Who all's gonna need to be present for a Saturday meeting?
Anyone that is able to make it. Full council will be ideal, but we're never gonna land on.
And is there any staff that's gonna need to be present?
Probably not really talking about organizational change and leadership in council. So honestly, this initial kickoff maybe should just be council and the mayor.
Okay.
and I agree with that too. So, so I move that we have a meeting that involves organizational structure and responsibilities on July 13th at 2:00. And it will only have the city council members and the mayor,
What time was it?
2:00.
I don't know. That should give me time to get, if I'm in Bingen, that should.
Would you rather 3:00?
I'll make 2 work if I have to leave early. I will.
Okay, 2:00.
And we'll be discussing the public works position.
The public works position, I think that it would be smart if all of us came up with some type of different discussion things that we would like to talk about, and whether we get them all discussed on that date, we may not, but that's okay. But I think for sure the Public Works position and our goals should be at least the minimum that we talk about.
That seems like it's a priority right now.
Mhm.
Hour and a half? 2 hours? What do you guys want to do on a Saturday, an hour?
But half,
I'm willing to do whatever it
Guess how long
takes.
it takes.
Better do 2 hours then.
yeah, we really finish it up.
Steve will have a barbecue after.
Okay, now let me make sure I got the motion. There's a motion to have a workshop on Saturday, July 13th at 2 p.m. Topics will be the Public Works position and city council goals. Is there a second?
Second,
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion or questions?
we're giving a lot of attention to the position of Public Works. We're also short a code enforcement officer position that needs to be filled. I mean, law enforcement can enforce so much.
Yes, and besides the code enforcement, we need to maybe address animal control. We currently combine those two. When they left, well, Robert's not willing to take that responsibility on because it does require to go to the academy. I do have Tom Fitzgibbons that retired, that he advised he's willing to come back for maybe 2 half-days a week for the summer until we can find a position for that. It would be nice to create a full-time animal control position. I think it's needed. They would be busy. If that was its own full-time position, I know I do have a couple candidates that were looking for the reserve academy that were willing to do that, depending on the pay and then, with a 40-hour week position.
Those would both be positions within the PD, right, under your purview?
They would if the council chooses to that. Right now, it's kind of in limbo. The police department's had it, then it went to the city. Public Works side of it. If it does, I just have to be revamped for my budget. I don't have a problem doing that. It may be easier to keep it under the police department because of the issue citations and that I can control that side of it a lot easier with our Spillman program, with dispatch, with the radio and that. It does work a little bit more fluently under the police department as long as it's a full-time position. I don't have the staffing and the officers to do that. It takes up a lot of time right now. I mean, our numbers haven't decreased. And so I do have a candidate for the 9th position, but I'm still short with one on health leave. So
I'll move that Chief Smith bring back to council to job.
Well, we have a
description.
motion and a second on the table.
To move forward on the workshop. I
We're
just brought
moving
it
down
up
the
and something else to discuss.
So how do we get there? Our chief, have a secondary motion.
I think Steve seconded it, so I guess Danielle would have to add that to that,
So can I
and
say
they would have to be
something?
okay with.
The code enforcement building has been hired.
Yes,
Robert Thompson is the code and building planning official.
But
yes.
we haven't undone what we did before, merge the,
That was only a resolution, so the
we have to undo
resolution,
that resolution, correct?
you should.
So that, and
Undo.
then give it to the police department and.
Well,
Okay, so let's figure out what we got on the table. We got the motion. I think how it is, she's got to amend it to what you mentioned. And since you seconded it, you got to be okay with it. And then we can
What was
vote
the
on it.
amendment?
Well, that was what you guys were talking about, code enforcement, or not code enforcement,
That could be assigned as far as the agenda we're going to.
Exactly. I think that can just fall under the different
Okay.
things that people come up with that we talk about there.
so then we don't need to change it. We just need to vote
No,
on it.
we just
and then
need to
we
vote
can-
on it.
Then we can go on with it.
Workshop itself.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second on the table. Unless there's any further discussion. I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay, great, thanks. That's good work, everybody. Yes,
So
sir.
I don't know if it's possible. I would make a motion that Mike propose staffing solutions for the animal control and where that's housed and a budget. I don't know if it's possible to do that before Saturday the 13th, so we have that information at this meeting. But I think it'd be great to have the chief of police make his suggestions to council to consider. We can make edits, adjustments, et cetera, but you know, he's got the expertise for that area.
We should be able to direct the chief of police to do that under resolution.
Yeah.
Okay,
Great. Thanks.
agreed.
So we don't need a motion for that, right?
I don't think so.
believe
That should be a-
Okay,
I can direct the chief of police to do that under. Okay, we'll work on that.
In the past,
Thank
we
you.
made motions and things don't happen, and we get told we have to make motions to make stuff happen, but you're committed, and I trust you, Dave. You're committed, so mine.
And most animal control's already been in effect, and I'm not sure what was actually drawn up with the MOU. I know I gave Mike Hussey limited commission to enforce animal control. And then we sent him to the academy, and so that's any resolution to bring it back to what it was normally, just with the staffing conditions that we need a full-time animal control only, because it's a lot cleaner to have animal control its entity, because they go to the academy, there is a certification from animal control through CDPC. It's a 2-week class training they go through, and then if they came back, there would just be some, we already have animal control vehicle. We have all the equipment that's back at the now, and so there would be a few minor costs for, you know, uniforms and, you know, things like that, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal, but.
Okay.
Other than the actual.
You sound like the guy to put the proposal together.
Yeah,
Other than the actual position, so.
thank you.
I would assume this, being it's gonna be a full-time position 40 hours a week. This person is gonna be out cruising the streets 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I would assume not, so they would be helping out, filling in, or carrying some of the load of the department.
No, they're animal control separate. They're not a commissioned officer.
Okay.
So they're not law, they can't arrest people. They strictly deal with animal control. They would help with the housing. Right now, we have a contract with one of the vet clinics for the housing for dogs. Normally it is patrolling on the streets. We probably get 1 to 3 calls a day for animal issues. We could expand that. I mean, there's a lot of different ways depending on how the council wants. I mean, we don't deal with cats. They're a feral animal. We get a lot of complaints with that. We educate people. There is a lot of animal education that goes along with that position. Patrol, responding to calls, responding to different animals, dog barkings, animal neglect. And we could combine with other animals if you guys choose to do that. We don't really have a setup for, you know, like raccoons and things like that. That's Fish and Wildlife Department deals with that. So, but it is something you could have 40 hours a week, plenty to do with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, great, thank you. I will move on to resolutions. Resolution number 736. The Tourism Events Committee met on June 25th to review an application sent in by the Chamber of Commerce requesting an additional tourism dollars for community days in the amount of $1,000. And the committee has recommended the council approve the $1,000. Anybody on the events committee would like to speak to this? Or any discussion?
Well, I think we agree that we would approve of it, and definitely the chamber could use that money for the community days, since it's a big event, so I think it's just $1,000, and so.
And it's with the addition of the car show, because they initially were not going to have the car show, and they took that on last minute.
Right, and we don't want to have like that back on again.
I move to approve resolution number 736, amending resolution number 731 for tourism funding to get the Goldenville Chamber of Commerce additional funds for community days in the amount of $1,000.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the additional tourism dollars to the Chamber of Commerce. Any comments or discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Thank you for the work on that, everybody. Okay, we'll move along to report of officers. And we'll start with Mylan Walling.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Well, I guess I don't have too much tonight. Well, I was noticing out there at the airport that they've done a good job of mowing the grass down, but then the DNR bring their helicopters in, and sometimes they land them on the grass out there that's not mowed yet. You know, it's whatever. Sometime it'd be nice if they go out there and mow the grass down, where they've done some mowing, but they haven't mowed. When you go west of the old hangars, there's still a lot of the cheatgrass. And sometimes they park there. Last year, however, they parked up there where we have where the airplanes are parked. So, but I know the trucks are always parked on the taxiway. And then they put the helicopters on the kind of where the grass is at. Anyway, just a thought. you know.
Great. Okay,
Yeah, anyway, otherwise than that, no, I think we're doing real fine.
thank you, Mylan. Danielle?
Just a couple things, community days, there is gonna be a dunk tank there for the Goldendale, community enrichment. To raise money for that, they do the citywide, garbage pickup with Republic Services. And they are, trying to get a few other things in the works, I'll be in there, I know that both the police and the fire department have offered up some people to be in there, Dan Christopher's gonna be in there. Billy Bear, I believe it's Billy Bear, is also going to be in there, so please come down and take your best shot. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, and that's gonna be by the general store, so it'll be on the street, the main street with the car show, so. Also, I just had a question, where are we with the parks plan? That's been in the works and in the works and in the works, and
It's coming
Yes.
along beautifully.
It is, it's actually coming together.
Now that we've partnered with conservation, who are the two gentlemen? Is that county?
Yes,
Okay. Yes, thanks to them, they have come in and just, it's beauty, if you wanna take a look at it.
no, I just wanted to know when is it expected to be completed?
the next step on the parks plan, it's almost completed. The next step will schedule public input is another requirement of the parks plan to have multiple public input opportunities. And that'll be the next step on the parks plan, and take the public comment and incorporate that into the plan as best we can.
I think we're gonna have one more Parks Plan meeting before we did that, right, to review the final.
Yes.
Draft, and the Conservation District is working on maps for each of the parks to have in that Parks Plan. But I know that Keaton is still adding a few things to it, so.
Yes, I was communicating with him today on a few things. I gave him some of the things he requested, last 5 years budget for parks. We got that over to him. And the maps of the trails up the observatory that he wanted, we got that to him, and a few other things.
Was one of them, when these facilities were put into service.
I don't know if we've gotten that information to him yet.
Yeah, because I've seen that noted, and that
Yeah.
would be helpful, critical actually. Well, it's been there for 35 years, yeah.
Yeah,
And it needs to be replaced.
There's a question like when the last time the major maintenance.
yeah.
And if there is a maintenance schedule, that was what I was gonna add on. Is there a maintenance schedule for the different things that are in the park? Like we just put, we just voted to put in some of the ADA resources for people. What's the maintenance plan on those? Because I mean, we've taken the gazebo down, we've taken a lot of things down because there isn't a maintenance plan, and I was just curious if that has been thought out.
I believe Keaton has included that into the plan, yes.
Well, the gazebo is totally redone and in
Right,
great
but,
shape now.
right, but it had, from what I understand, it wasn't there very long before it had to be replaced because it hadn't been maintained.
It's been maintained, they've redone the roof, they've redone,
Yeah.
it's just finally had to take it all down and redo it because it was
Okay, well, that's
It's
good.
patched
to know.
together for too many
Okay.
times, I would say.
That's good to know
I
then.
think that's a great topic though for our workshop, because it seems like we haven't had instances where something happens at one of the parks and we don't have funding to go do that maintenance.
Right.
So, you know,
Cause why
Making
are
that
we
future
voting on
plan.
things if we don't have a plan to keep them running and good?
so
you
maybe
know?
we just need to have a more refined maintenance plan and definitely have budget set up to be able to deal with things that aren't expected. Because like I say, in the past, we've had issues and we just didn't have the resources to do anything, so.
Well, look at the skate park that's been down for, I think, since I've been on council 13 years.
Yeah.
And we kept saying we're gonna replace it and we haven't.
What state park?
The skate park. they have
Oh,
a
skate
ramp,
park. I
yeah.
thought you said state. Okay.
Sorry,
That was well utilized, that was a
Yeah.
great resource.
there, I still get complaints that it's not there anymore,
I have.
so.
Yeah, they just moved it down here, they still got a skate.
Yeah, but we need to actually put something in for the kids that actually go down and use it.
I didn't mean to open up a bag of
Oh, no,
words,
no,
but I
that's-
know
that's
that
There you
we,
go.
it's one of those things that, you know, we keep on talking about and let's move forward. And I hope that some of these things really get to put into play when we have our meeting, and I'm excited for that. And Lauren, thank you for bringing that up. It's awesome. Is there any other committees that need a plan that is outdated or past due that we also can talk about?
The only thing that comes to my mind right now is our 6-year street plan that has to be visited regularly and that's public works, but it is also council approval once it's
Yeah.
presented to us.
I talked, Steve, I talked to Larry today about that 6-year plan. And I think there needs to be a meeting and maybe Mayor and Doug and Precision, who's the fellow out there?
Pioneer,
Well,
Pioneer Engineering.
Yeah, Pioneer, yeah.
Well, Pioneer-
Dustin.
Yes.
Dustin.
Oh, this is Pioneer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, he suggested that you have a meeting sometime. And to talk about, there's about 3 streets that need to be done. And of course, I'm really pushing for Mill Street. Because there's a lot of traffic on Mill Street. There's a potential danger, especially coming down from the fairground to the creek there. It is narrow. And the idea is to widen the street a little bit and also put a sidewalk all the way out to Broadway.
Yeah, the pedestrian use there is pretty high, especially during the fair, other
Oh,
events,
yeah.
and
Right,
it's
right.
it would be great.
So I told Larry, I hope they get together and I look at it as a safety issue,
Mhm.
you know,
Oh, absolutely.
cause they go on points. I guess I heard that before, I forgot about it, but whatever we need to do, get enough points to get the job done.
Run over sometime.
Yeah, right.
Well, along with what you're saying with the streets and things like that, in the AWC conference, they talked about when we have a plan to do something like the water project on Pipeline and Columbus, or no, not Columbus, what is it, the other road?
High Street.
High Street, or High Street and Columbus. Right?
Yes.
It's Columbus, the other street. So they said, when you have something like that and you're pulling the streets up anyway, and you have other work that needs to be done, which has been brought up in these meetings, that's the best time to get a hold of trying to get grants and try to get state and federal funding so that they can incorporate it and do it all at one time, because it's the most bang for the buck, and they like to be able to help when they can, when we already have something going on, rather than having to go back 10 years later and now redo everything. So just, and that's all I have. And I'm
Okay.
gonna shut up.
Thank you, Danielle. Andy,
I think we've talked enough, so I'm just.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
Ellie,
I've got nothing.
okay, Lauren,
Just thank you, everybody, for taking on a couple of different topics tonight, and
Yeah.
I'm excited about the energy around having some more conversations.
great, thank you. Film,
I just wanted to know when you scheduled the next parks meeting for, is it July 25th?
let me get back to you on that. I don't have that in this notebook. But I have it written down.
Okay, let me know.
I'll send an email
Okay, wonderful.
to everybody.
When was the last one? We were trying to do it every other week,
Yeah,
a couple of months.
I know we came up with a date at the last meeting. I have it written down in my other notebook. I'll send out an email tonight
Good, because
to everybody involved of the date. And make sure it works with everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, and, no, I hope everybody enjoys community days, stays hydrated. Yeah, it'll be a busy week, busy weekend.
Great, thank you, Sam. Steve?
Nothing, everybody talked about everything I was gonna bring up.
You did.
This group is really doing great. Really on the ball. I really appreciate the attentiveness being given to some of these subjects.
Great, well, thank you, Steve.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And under the mayor's report, I just wanted to make sure to thank everybody who's putting in all the hard work for both the demolition derby and the community days, planning those kind of events takes a lot of time, and we have a lot of really dedicated people in this community that work hard to make those events happen, and we just really appreciate it. And they even, if you're around on Saturday and community days, they even talked me into taking a pie in the face. So for $1, you can throw a pie at me. I didn't agree to the dunk tank, so I agreed to the pie.
Yeah.
In the face.
I know.
Range pie?
There's fire.
It's just whipped cream, I hope.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all for me. We'll move on to open public comment. Is there anybody here that would like to make a comment? Yes, please, sir, step up and state your name and area of residence.
Thank you. Can I move this over?
You can.
My name is Robert Yosley, P.O. Box 1600 Goldendale, Washington. And I have 9 handouts here, hopefully one for you, man, and the rest can be passed along. And I'm gonna have to apologize beforehand. What I have to say is gonna be fairly critical. Past actions by this group, not all of you present, of course, but I am concerned. I'm the former president of the Friends of Goldendale Observatory. Is it okay if I have more than 3 minutes since there's nobody else kind of?
You use up your 3 minutes and I can get approval from the council to extend that.
Okay. A little bit about me. I grew up in the heyday of the space program. I looked through the Cloudfather's telescope when I was 6 years old, got mesmerized by the craters on the moon. Built my first telescope in the 7th grade. I've built many since then. Came up to Goldendale in 1979 to see the total eclipse. And I was completely blown away by the telescope that had been built by amateur astronomers and placed in the observatory here. A little bit of history, that telescope was built at Clark College in Vancouver, Washington by 4 amateur astronomers. But they realized, the college and the amateurs, that Portland and Vancouver was not an ideal place for such a large research quality telescope. Valued back then at about $50,000, which today would be about 10 times as much. So they looked for a place to locate it. In Goldendale is where they decided to put it. With the promise from Goldendale and Klickitat County that the concerns over the observatory being so close to the city would be addressed through education and adoption of light pollution ordinances to protect the night sky, the telescope, and the observatory. Those ordinances weren't adopted until 1979. And since that time, there's been very little knowledge of these ordinances or public education about these ordinances to protect the sky of the Goldendale Observatory. There have been several things that have happened since then. They're detailed on the last page of the packet I gave you, so I won't go into great detail. But one of the things that happened in 2010 was the observatory was designated as the 6th International Dark Sky Park in the United States, the 2nd state park in the United States. There are now over 200 international dark sky parks throughout the world. There's over 27 state parks. But with the change in management in about 2013, the International Dark Sky Park was no longer revered, cherished, or appreciated by state parks. False applications were turned into the IDA stating that dark sky education was taking place when none was.
Would the Okay, that was a 3 minutes. We have the option, the council has the option to extend, the time limit if, so desired.
Yes.
I-
I would say 3 more minutes.
We have a resolution, 3 more minutes. Okay, thank you, sir.
Long story short is the observatory was decertified by the IDA for lack of complying with their requirement to provide advocacy for protecting the night sky and education about it. I met with Mayor Cannon in 2018, urging him to consider dark sky community designation. And John Barentine, PhD from the Dark Sky program, offered free assistance to the city to provide that certification. That wasn't taken up. Instead, city council with Mayor Cannon's encouragement apparently urged the designation and application to occur through the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce submitted a totally inadequate, incomplete, and horrendously bad application. And it was immediately rejected out of hand. The only other part of the contract that you can see on the 3rd page was to provide to assist the development of outdoor lighting education plan to encourage voluntary compliance with the Goldendale Municipal Code. That didn't occur either. Where is it? So you submit a plan that's so inadequate that it's rejected, and you develop no education plan whatsoever that was originally intended, and how this telescope and observatory ended up being created. I guess my question for the council is that when you contract with the chamber to do something and they don't do it, what is the repercussion? Because there's a big article here from 2023 about a gentleman who questioned that very premise. And it was assured that there was accountability by the council and the chamber to perform the work it promises to do in its legal contract to the city. It hasn't happened. Hasn't happened since 2019 and 20, when the application for a dark sky community was made, and the promise to provide an education program and to assist the city with that hasn't happened at all. So for the record, I would like an answer from the city council on what is the end result of the contract that is unfulfilled to provide exactly what was promised and never delivered on. And that's my question for you. Where is a completed, valid application for a dark sky community? Are you gonna pursue it? It doesn't appear. And where is the education program that was intended to educate the public about the lighting ordinances? It's hard to comply with something if you don't know it exists. How do you do that? So that's my question. And if I could indulge upon you, I would like a written response to P.O. Box 1600, Goldendale, Washington, 98620. From Robert Yosley. Just to know what your feelings are. Is this something that is going to be fulfilled or not? Via this past contract with the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Hopefully you have a good evening.
Would you give that address one more
You
time?
write it down.
Oh, you wrote it down, okay. Okay,
Thank you.
great, thank you, sir. If you want to stick around after the meeting, I'll have a chat with you. Thanks.
Well, Mayor, I just think we just need to kind of look into this and.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I could, yeah, it's, yeah, we need to do a little bit of research on this.
Absolutely.
Few other things on that statement of work I'd like to discuss in the future too, but I also want to note that, you know, January 7th, 2019, a year later, the world was turned upside down. We were shut down for months, you know, but I really appreciate this being brought to our attention so that we can get back to it, especially as we start talking about city council setting a direction for and identifying things for staff to pursue. So it's great timing to bring this to our attention. Thank you, sir.
Very
Yeah,
much.
and especially an ordinance meeting coming up.
There you go.
And you guys, I don't know if they did implement an ordinance. I thought it was.
Yes.
Where the lights have to be
We do.
facing
We,
down, not out.
We do have that ordinance on the books.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And it's definitely something that's been important to council and the mayor and past mayors, like we
Absolutely.
addressed it with our street lighting, we addressed it with the lighting
Yep.
we've done for the, over by the pool.
Yeah,
But we should revisit it and talk.
absolutely. We all know how important the observatory is to us. It's one of the great gems that we have here and our number one tourist attraction, by far. Great, I appreciate it. Any other, anybody else here for public comment on the line? Yes, Roger. Oh, we can't hear you, Roger.
Okay, let me try that.
Okay, we can
Okay.
hear you now.
Okay, in the last meeting, and I apologize for bringing this up, but I do like to get clarity on things. It seemed that, Councilor Mager made a comment that suggested perhaps that if somebody wanted to run, he would step down. I didn't report that because I wanted clarity before if I did that, but Lauren, if you have a thought on that, or if I'm just misinterpreting something, I apologize, but I want to get it right if I report on it. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks, Roger. Do you want to comment?
Yes.
Yeah, so there was, I missed a number of council meetings this last few months, It's been a challenging time for a number of reasons, and there was some discussion about council attendance, and I definitely would be, if my fellow council members wanted me to step down for someone that had more time and could make every meeting, then I'd definitely be willing to do so. Like I said, you know, juggling job and family of 3 kids and everything else is just a lot of pulls on time. In fact, that next council meeting, I think I have a conflict with a work meeting with someone from Olympia who's coming down, but I'm gonna try and cut that short so I can attend the next council meeting. But definitely, like, it would be great to see more people coming in, participating in the public and stepping up to learn more about council and participating into the future. And if someone was really excited about it and my schedule continues to be hectic, I am willing to step down and let someone else come in and have a voice.
Thank you very much for the clarity. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Roger. Is there anybody else on the line that would like to make a public comment? No hands up, Shelley? Okay, hearing none. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
To adjourn.
Okay, we got
Yeah, second.
okay, we'll say Andy got the motion to adjourn.
And the tie goes to.
Mylan second. Any discussion on if we want to adjourn? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Just for the record in here now that's off, Lauren, I hope that you decide to stay. I think you bring a whole bunch to the table and I hope that time permitting, you can stay.
Yeah, I'm really eager to see how this
You forgot
works
to say something about the conference, or did you say that at the last?
Well, I didn't. I said it kind of, I figured we could do that at the organizational and I said kind of what I wanted to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's